From a big change for international students to multiple express entry draws, this episode has a lot to cover. So make sure that you stick to the end of this episode. Hello and welcome to My Consultant Show, your go-to source for monthly updates on Canada immigration. We are starting today's episode with Canada increasing permanent resident fees, followed by multiple express entry draws held last month. Next, new immigration measures for people affected by natural disasters, and a major update for international students in Canada. Let's start with an important update for anyone who is planning to apply for permanent residence in Canada. As of 30th April 2026, Canadian government has increased the PR processing fees for all immigration programs. This includes express entry, provincial nominee program, family sponsorship. If you are planning to apply for PR or already have an application in progress, this means you may have to pay higher fees. It's important to check updated fee amounts before applying. The government says that the main reason behind this increase is to keep up with inflation and also to maintain more reliable and faster processing services. These are the updated fees for principal applicants by program. Now let's talk about express entry draws held last month. Throughout the month, multiple express entry draws were held across different categories, such as French language, Canadian experience class, and provincial nominee program. For French language candidates, two major express entry draws were held. On April 15th, 4,000 invitations were sent with a CRS score of 419, and on April 29th, again 4,000 invitations were sent with a CRS score of 400. So French language draws alone invited 8,000 candidates in April. This shows Canada's strong focus on French-speaking immigrants. There were also two Canadian experience class draws held last month. On April 14, 2,000 invitations were sent with a CRS score of 515, and on April 28, another 2,000 invitations were sent with a CRS score of 514. This means that Canada continues to prioritize candidates with Canadian work experience. For provincial nominee candidates as well, two draws were held. On April 13th, 324 invitations were sent with a CRS score of 786, and on April 27th, 473 invitations were sent with a CRS score of 795. One draw held in April specifically focused on skilled trade workers. On April 2nd, 3,000 invitations were sent with a CRS score of 477. This shows that Canada is continuing to focus on trades like electricians, plumbers, and mechanics, which are in high demand. An important updates for temporary residents in Canada. The government has recently introduced new immigration measures to support people who are affected by natural disasters within the country. These measures are for international students, temporary foreign workers, and visitors. If you are affected by a natural disaster, you can replace lost or damaged immigration documents, apply to extend or restore your status, renew your work or study permit, even apply after the usual 90-day restoration period. These new immigration measures will be in place from April 1st, 2026 to November 30th, 2028. Finally, a very important update for all international students in Canada. Starting 1st April 2026, international students in Canada will no longer require a separate work permit for their internships or co-op placements. If your study program includes co-op placements, internships, or work-based trainings, you can now complete them using just your study permit as long as your school approves it. Until now, international students who were required to complete their internship as part of their studies had to apply for a separate work permit on the top of their study permit. which meant extra paperwork and longer processing times. But with this new measure, that extra step is no longer required. Now, if an international student is enrolled in a program where internship is mandatory, they will now be able to finish it by using the same study permit. In other words, your study permit is now more than enough for you to finish your internship and co-op placement. You can do that unless you are meeting these requirements. To be eligible, students must be studying full-time at a designated learning institution in Canada, enrolled in a program that is at least 6 months long and leads to a recognized credential such as degree, diploma, or certificate. They must also have a valid study permit or have applied to extend it before expiry. In addition, their study permit must include authorization to work, and they must have official confirmation from their institution that the work placement is a required part of their program. Another important condition is that the work placement cannot exceed 50% of the total study program. Also, if you are someone who has already applied for their co-op work permit, you don't need to do anything. IRCC will automatically cancel all eligible applications. With this new measure, now international students do not need to apply for an extra permit, which will reduce the processing time. Also, there will be less paperwork and stress. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us this month. If you are looking for more such updates and news about Canada immigration, then please make sure that you subscribe to our myconsultant.ca YouTube channel. You can also visit our website myconsultant.ca, where you can find over 4,000 immigration and citizenship consultants, selecting the one that best suits your needs. I am Tina Batra, and I will see you next month.